black mass UFO was seen emerging from cloud cover and re-emerging back in and disappearing over Kern County. Check this out.
Oh, what is that?
So this was observed in Kern County, right in the southern part of the Central Valley between Los Angeles and Fresno. And the object is presenting itself as a black mass which kind of slips back into the cloud cover, which is a little bit weird when you think about it's actively being observed and then it retreats back into the cloud. And does this go into the theory that there might be things using clouds or presenting as clouds, but there's something very different? And what they are, we don't really know. And the area where this was captured is just vast areas of oil fields, deserts, and not really much else, which is a little bit strange.
Oh, what is that?
Breaking news! The impossible has just happened in space. Scientists around the world are in shock after detecting strange pulse waves coming directly from the mysterious object 3I Atlas, an interstellar body that seems to defy every known law of physics. These transmissions are being emitted at 1,420 megahertzes, the same frequency used by SETI to search for extraterrestrial life. Coincidence? Highly unlikely. The pulses follow a mysterious sequence: 8, 13, 8, 5, 13, 8, and no one can explain what it means. And now 3I Atlas has just become brighter and bluer than the sun itself. When it reached perihelion on October 29, it suddenly changed color, releasing high-energy particles as if something was awakening. NASA astronomers
Gente! Gente! É uma nave, gato! Gente!
Now you start to see this object really high in the sky, and he's trying to zoom in on it. He's trying to keep it in frame and in focus. And you see, it looks like a cylindrical tube-like object that is perpendicular to the ground. And you see it appears to be rotating slowly, and you see the dark side of it, and then you see another side that looks like it either has lights or maybe it's reflection from the sun. It's kind of hard to say as it rotates. He's zooming in and out, showing that this object's pretty high in the sky, and he's having a hard time keeping it in frame as he zooms in. But yeah, it just looks like a cylindrical tube cigar shaped UAP just kind of floating in the sky and rotating. Now, when you see the lights, I do think those are lights. I don't think that that's actually a reflection of sunlight or a glint of sunlight. Very bizarre looking. It looks very solid. I don't know. I actually find this footage to be very compelling. It's a weird looking object. I mean, I've never seen anything like that, and I can't think of any kind of conventional aircraft that looks like that. But what I do know is that it's weird, and I don't know what it is. So I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think this object is? Share all of your theories in the comments down below.
Se está bajando, ¿no? No sé.
tells you that Stonehenge was rebuilt by cranes and machines in 1958. You're made to believe Stonehenge was a mystery, and we don't know how it was built. But how long have we been rebuilding it exactly? The truth is, the reconstruction effort started even earlier. In 1901, one of the stones was straightened and set in concrete. More work followed in 1919, 1920, 1959, and even as recently as 1964. These projects involved repositioning stones, re-erecting fallen ones, and using modern machinery to stabilize them. So why is this history downplayed? By presenting Stonehenge as an untouched ancient marvel, those in power keep its mystery alive, attracting tourists and maintaining a profitable narrative. The idea that our ancestors had lost enigmatic knowledge adds to the intrigue and fascination, overshadowing the fact that modern interventions played a big role. Now we know the truth about Stonehenge. It's not what it's made out to be. It's not ancient. It's a lie. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
They don't want you asking this question. How did people riding around in horses and buggies manage to build massive, intricate buildings like these? We're told they just had hammers, hand saws, and some basic tools. Does that even make sense to you? Take a good look at these grand buildings and really ask yourself, how could they pull that off with such primitive technology? Makes you wonder if the history we're taught is even real, or just a story they made up to cover something up. And here's where it gets even creepier. What if the dates carved on these buildings aren't even correct? What if that 1 you see isn't really a 1 at all? We could be off by 1,000 years and not even know it. So, who really built all of this? Ever heard of Tartaria? Tartaria was supposedly this massive empire that somehow just disappeared from our history books. But here's the thing, you can't fully erase history. They say Tartaria was an incredibly advanced civilization. Some even say they're the ones who built the Great Wall of China and all those intricate buildings we've been wondering about. Could Tartaria be the missing piece of the puzzle? Maybe it explains all these architectural mysteries and all the lies we've been told about our own history.
Conspiracy theories that everyone knows is true, part 1. Everyone knows the story of the man that invented an engine that ran on nothing but water that supposedly was able to go 845 miles between Phillips. Somebody from the oil and gas industry got upset and got this guy whacked off basically in broad daylight. They poisoned him and found unalived. I'm going to take it a step further on this. Not only do I think oil and gas industries are doing everything they can to stop people from inventing things like this, I think they're also stopping the advancement of just regular combustion engines and their mileage. I find it very strange that outside of going to a hybrid or an electric vehicle, that the overall gas mileage of engines really has not changed in many, many decades. Considering how much things have gotten advanced in everything else in society, I don't think it's really that possible that there's no way big companies like Toyota or Honda or Ford can't find a way to have an engine that's not a hybrid or electric that can add more mileage to a vehicle. But everyone knows this is true, and this is another thing that nobody steps up and does anything about because they're scared they're also going to go get whacked off.
So do you guys know who owns the whole island next to Lahaina? This guy, Larry Ellison, that bought 98% of Lanai, which is this whole island right next to Lahaina. Who is this guy and how did he get so rich? The co-founder, chairman, chief technology officer of Oracle. Oracle is the third largest software company in the world by revenue and market cap, facing a class action lawsuit for allegedly deliberate and purposeful surveillance of the general population on operating a surveillance machine which tracks in real time and records indefinitely the personal information of hundreds of millions of people. Guys? 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 I think that's the end of this video. You should go to the backup account if you want to see more. From now on, this main account is just gonna be about financial stuff. No more talking about power lines. We're not allowed to talk about power lines. Sorry, Larry, I'm sure you're a great guy. All y'all conspiracy theory tinfoil hat wearing nerds, the backup account is linked down below. This account's gonna be on the straight and narrow from here on out. No more boo-boos, no more whoopsies. We are good kids around here. Straight A students doing our own research. Did I do good, Dad? Is that better? Can I have a cookie?
Archaeologists have discovered a huge ancient city hidden underground in Mexico, which may give a better understanding of the Maya civilization.
The Maya civilization vanished, leaving behind only ruins and mysteries. Now, a stunning DNA test has finally exposed their true origins, and the reality is far more terrifying than we imagined. Deep in a sealed chamber, scientists found remains that are not what they seem.
They die and they revive again every day to remind humans that they got to keep a balance, maybe by making offerings and rituals specific to the underworld.
Their DNA contains an impossible sequence, a code that rewrites our understanding of human history. This isn't just a new discovery. It's the unraveling of a dark secret, one that suggests the Maya were connected to something else. The Obsidian Anomaly. It all started in the Petén Basin of northern Guatemala. This is one of the thickest, least explored parts of the entire Mayan world. A research team was working on a restoration program scanning the foundations of collapsed temples near the massive city of El Mirador. The ground-penetrating radar showed an anomaly, a geometric void, perfectly circular, buried more than 40 feet below the pyramid's foundation. You see, nature doesn't build in perfect circles. At first, they thought it was just a natural cave, but as they dug, they hit a layer of stone that was wrong. The blocks were smoother, cut with perfect precision and bound together by a strange adhesive compound that was harder than modern cement. Then they found it. A sealed doorway. A single massive slab of limestone. It had faint engravings, but they weren't Mayan. They didn't match any known script. Some looked like pre-Olmec shapes, while others seemed entirely alien. The team noted their instruments were acting up again. The slab was giving off weirdly low magnetic readings, as if it had metal inside the stone. After days of careful work, they finally breached the slab. A burst of compressed air hissed out. Inside was a circular chamber about 23 feet across. But the walls, they were coated in a black, glass-like substance. It looked like obsidian, but it absorbed the light from their lamps. It didn't reflect it. The air was cold, several degrees lower than the jungle outside, and it was completely unnaturally silent. And in the center, sitting on 3 stone pedestals, were the ancient remains of 3 individuals. They were seated cross-legged, surrounded by jade ornaments, polished metallic discs, and crystal fragments. What many overlooked at first was the state of preservation. The site was pristine, untouched by decay, which should be impossible in the tropical humidity. But the individuals themselves were the real mystery. Their skulls were elongated. Now we know the Maya practiced artificial head binding, but this was different. The bone density and symmetry suggested this wasn't artificial. This was genetic. But here's the kicker: the carbon dating. The team tested organic fibers from the chamber. The results came back at approximately 12,400 years before present. Let that sink in. This chamber and the people inside it were thousands of years older than the Maya civilization. They were older than the Olmec. They were from a time before history as we know it began in the Americas. This discovery alone would change the textbooks. But the thing nobody tells you is what happened when they took the remains back to the lab. They ran a DNA test, and what they found, what they unleashed, is the dark secret the title of this story is all about. The initial analysis was standard. The mitochondrial DNA belonged to haplogroup A2, which is common among indigenous peoples of the Americas. But then the deeper sequencing failed. Specific parts of the genome just wouldn't align with any known human data. They thought it was contamination, but the anomaly repeated. It was identical across all three individuals. They found it in the non-coding regions of the genome, the part scientists used to call junk DNA. They found a sequence, a repeating patterned motif. It was so precise, it wasn't random, it wasn't mutation, it was mathematical. When they mapped it, the pattern displayed a recurring ratio that perfectly approximated the Fibonacci progression. It was a code. This was impossible. This was a message hidden inside a strand of DNA from 12,400 years ago. They labeled the anomaly Sequence X473. It was part human, part something else. But this genetic code wasn't just a random message, it matched something else. Sequence X473. This is where the story gets truly unsettling. This wasn't just old DNA, it was active. Parallel tests at
This could be the end for all of us now. We all thought the Maya calendar ended in 2012, but that's not true. 2 archaeologists discovered a map inside a bottle on the Miami beach with a text that couldn't be translated into any language in the world. They were certain that the map depicted the Grand Canyon, so they headed there. Initially, they found nothing at the marked spot on the map and even considered turning back, until one of them stumbled upon a cave entrance so small that only one person could crawl through. Once inside, they couldn't believe their eyes. There were ancient treasures and inscriptions on the walls that trace back to the Maya civilization. It continued the Maya calendar, even predicting the pandemic in 2019. The calendar ends in 2023, and the Maya foretell that the Earth will reverse its rotation. The CIA has even created a secret document on this subject called the Adam and Eve theory. Unfortunately, the 2 archaeologists vanished without a trace the following day, leaving behind only a report on their discovery. Hence, this story cannot be confirmed.
Oh, now you said something on social media the other day that outer space is the ocean.
Right.
Explain that.
I can't do it.
You can't explain it?
I can explain it, but I don't want to explain it on camera.
Is it one of those things where it's just like, we don't know what's up there and we don't know what's down there?
Kinda.
The ocean is the new outer space.
Straight up.
It is?
Yeah, you know these
Straight
guys
up.
who died, they were explorers like Christopher Columbus and all that.
And they do have life forms under the ocean right now in the trenches that we are yet to see. We haven't seen near some of the life forms that have been out there. Your blood has the flora and the fauna of the land in it. It means that the DNA of all the life forms on the land is in your DNA because you've been here for 20, 30,000 years. They can't say the same thing.
Phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing and you didn't know why. Okay, and you really didn't know why. I mean, everybody was fighting. So he started riffing about the chemtrails. And he started to say things that hit home so hard. And I would recommend that everybody try to get what he said online or wherever and try to get a copy of it and just listen to it. Because I was so moved that I had to write the song.
One conspiracy theory that Prince believed in wholeheartedly was the conspiracy theory of chemtrails. He alleged that this is why everybody acts crazy when planes pass by in the sky, and nobody could understand why these things were happening. He said he learned this information from Dick Gregory, and Dick Gregory was an activist who would talk about alleged different things that would happen in society. All of this information actually motivated Prince to make the song called Dreamer, where he talks about a few different conspiracy theories.
Was born, raised on the same plantation. United States, red, white, and blood. Never knew it was different. The Dr. King was on the balcony, lying in a bloody pool. That's so much more from a loving society. Truthful explanation, but you know what? I got another conspiracy. The helicopters sit there and get too deep. I can't stand this here. You better check these devils. He said it.
And after Prince's passing, Dick Gregory actually did an interview where he says that Prince was unalived on purpose.
They killed Prince. They killed Prince on the plane. And that plane is owned by Warren Buffett. And so those are the games they play, man.
Let me know what you guys think on Prince's conspiracy theory on chemtrails, the song Dreamer, and what Dick Gregory said about Prince's unaliving.
Famous people that you didn't know were Freemasons.
She knows. She knows. Hey. Well, alright.
Wait, you're saying that 3I Atlas actually passed Mars in early October, the same time the ancient Sumerians said it would?
Yeah, and it's not some vague prophecy either. They literally carved it in stone. About 3,000 years ago, they made star maps showing a dark object from Sagittarius swinging past Mars and looping inward. That's exactly what happened.
Hold on, how would they even know that? I mean, how could people that long ago predict something like this?
That's the part nobody can explain. Either they had some insane level of astronomical knowledge, or someone told them.
You mean the gods they kept writing about?
Maybe. Some researchers think those carvings were like a message, something meant for us to notice when the time came. Look here, at this exact moment. And guess what? Everyone was looking.
So you don't think it's just coincidence? I mean, the timing, the path, all of it?
Not at all. Even NASA and the ESA were coordinating their data. When something lines up that perfectly with a 3,000-year-old prediction, it makes you wonder what else those people knew that we still don't.
I'd never seen anything like it before or since, and that's unusual because I've always had an interest in scientific things. I think that's even why I got selected to go to Antarctica, because a big part of the interview was about science and what I believed about things. So I really thought it was cool to see something I'd never heard of before. The whole time I was at McMurdo, I heard people talking about the wall, like that was a special place. It's pretty common to find ice walls and ice cliffs all over Antarctica. The whole place is ice, but it's all just normal white or clear ice. So I asked my friend where they get the sky ice from, and he said it comes from the wall. I don't remember exactly how he described it, but apparently there's a huge wall of sky ice in Antarctica. He said it was hundreds of miles inland from the coast. I never got to see it myself because I was only, and then I'm going to skip forward, stationed to McMurdo. I didn't get to go out on expeditions. He said it was the biggest natural structure in the world. Imagine that. He said that in the 1960s, the U.S. Army had a plan to bore a tunnel into the wall, but they didn't have a boring machine that could handle the super cold temperatures, So they had a whole testing project in Greenland where they developed ice tunnels and invented new boring machines that could operate in super cold temperatures. So this was back when they were going into forming NASA and all the other things that were kind of strange, the Antarctic Treaty, around that time, pretty close to it. And he says, like they did this whole big thing in Greenland for just practice. So it was like they were practicing to bore into the sky ice. I'm not an expert on that, but that's just what he told me. Then, once they had the new boring machine figured out, they brought it to the ice wall, or to the wall in Antarctica. He said that the machine bored a tunnel, I don't remember exactly, it was like 5 or 10 miles into the wall, but that they never broke through the other side of the wall, and that they still don't know how thick the wall is even to this day. And I'm probably not remembering this part correctly, but I think he said that at first the floor of the tunnel was solid rock, but after a mile or two in, the floor was sky ice, like it was sky ice underneath after a certain point, or something like that. And apparently the wall slowly builds itself back up. So it slowly builds itself back up after you cut it, because after a year or so, the tunnel had shrunk smaller all by itself, like a self-healing wound. It starts closing up. They had to leave the boring machine inside the wall because the tunnel shrunk too small to get it back out. And after a few decades, the tunnel was completely gone. Like the part of the wall was solid again. He said that now the scientists were trying to use technology to figure out how thick the wall is. He said something about putting earthquake sensors all along the wall, and that somehow you could measure the signal from an earthquake to see how thick the wall is. But he kind of lost me on that part. I never really thought about any of that after I left. It was really weird stuff, but I didn't think it was a big deal at the time. But then a few weeks ago, I saw a map of the wall in Antarctica, except the map was all flat and crazy looking, and it showed the wall going all the way up over the whole Earth. So since then, I've been trying to learn more about the sky ice that I saw and the wall that I heard about, but I can't find anything at all. So now I'm really wondering if there could be a connection here. And that's how I found this group. So I hope that maybe some part of my experience will help someone figure something out. Well, thankful to that person. If they were telling the truth, that is some very interesting information given what we know surrounds us. We know that the firmament's not just made out of ice. It's something special. That could just be something near the foundation to prevent you from going all the way to it. The Father's design is very complex, and he has foreknowledge. He knows what mankind's going to try to do. Those little nuclear bombs they shot at the firmament was nothing to the firmament. They can't break it. They've tried. If they could, they would, but they can't. And this is just one of those stories that confirms a lot of what I had assumed would be going on. I always thought, man, if they are out there and they can go to it, they're probably trying to drill through it, and if they are, how have they not gotten through it already? And that would answer the question for you, because it closes up as you go through it. But this was back in the 60s. There's no telling what they're trying now, mostly guarding it. I'm sure that's the biggest job they have, is keeping us from going there. And if you do go there, you can only go to certain places. It is tens of thousands of dollars for a one-way ticket. Otherwise, many of us would have already gone there, tried to do some sneaking around and investigating. But this video here, it only had like 300 views. But really cool stuff. Wanted to pass this along. I know the days of censorship have it to where you can't find stuff like this anymore. And I remembered putting it in my firmament playlist. I just wasn't sure if you guys had heard about this and wanted to pass it along to you. And
The Mayans never disappeared. The ancient civilization of the Maya is one of the most fascinating and mysterious civilizations in history. their remarkable and sophisticated culture known for their awe-inspiring architectural wonders, built with machine-like accuracy in a time where spears and arrows were used to hunt, such as towering pyramids, sprawling cities, and temples. They also developed one of the most complex writing systems of any ancient civilization, which allowed them to record their history, religious beliefs, and astronomical observations with great precision. They also made significant advances in mathematics and astronomy, creating calendars that were more accurate than those of many other ancient cultures. Many have wondered how they acquired such knowledge in such a short time. What if the Mayans were given access to other worldly technology by beings we call gods? And what if they are still alive and thriving in the modern world? So what if...
Can you tell me what kind of testing was done on the skull to authenticate it?
It's been examined in San Francisco for 6 years.
And what did they find?
They found that no tool has ever touched it. And
No tool has ever touched it?
It's all hand done. They rubbed it down with hot sand and different herbs. And it took 5 generations to rub down. But it had to be the same family from 5 generations, religious.
5 religious generations of families.
Yes.
Their whole function was to make this skull?
All done by hand.
Yes. And rubbed by sand and by
By
herbs?
sand and herbs. Hot sand.
About how many years would you say?
150 years to rub down.
Continuously?
To get it perfect.
But the information that the ability to make this skull was known by the Mayans and not by the ancient astronauts?
Yes, I would believe an astronaut has a lot to do with it, but Mayan and Inca, which are more astronaut.
Could you explain that a little bit more? Could you just give me a little more detail about what you mean by the astronaut and the...
Well, we know that people have come to this earth before we have.
Mm-hmm.
And they were definitely astronauts, weren't they? This is my belief, and this is the Mayan belief.
I see.
This is the most disturbing proof that our reality might be an illusion, and it's absolutely terrifying. On July 16, 1985, the Clark family vanished without a trace in Detroit. But when the police arrived to investigate, they found something even more unsettling. Their house was there, but officially it had never existed. No records, no blueprints, nothing. The officers entered the house trying to understand what was going on. The interior looked normal, but while reviewing municipal documents, they realized something impossible. That plot of land had never been registered as residential. It was as if the house had appeared out of nowhere. In the backyard, an inexplicable brick cube drew their attention, and inside the bedroom of the daughter, Anna Clark, they found a disturbing note hastily scribbled. "The angles are wrong, but Daddy says we'll fit." Forensics analyzed the cube and discovered that it seemed hollow inside. But when they tried to break it open, hammers and tools simply bounced off. No sound echoed inside, as if it were both hollow and infinite at the same time. Then someone suggested checking the negatives of the crime scene photos. That's when they saw the impossible. In every image, the house appeared distorted, with impossible angles and shadows that shouldn't exist.
Did you know that the Mayans left behind a mysterious message that no one has been able to decode? The Mayans were one of the most advanced civilizations of their time. They built magnificent cities, developed precise calendars, and made scientific discoveries far ahead of their era. Among their many writings, there is one message that stands out. A puzzling text written in strange symbols and patterns that has left experts baffled for decades. Some believe it might hold the key to understanding their sudden disappearance as a civilization. Others think it could be a warning about a catastrophic event in the future, something the Mayans foresaw but couldn't prevent. There are even theories that it might reveal knowledge we've lost over time, perhaps a secret about the universe itself. The Mayans were master astronomers, and some researchers speculate that this message could be connected to the stars or to cycles of events we have yet to comprehend. Despite all efforts to decode it, the true meaning remains hidden, shrouded in mystery.
Y'all, we are about to see the inside of the Mayan temple of El Castillo that has been closed off to the public since 2008, thanks to this awesome footage from 1995. Now, climbing these ancient stairs of the pyramid at Chichen Itza, let alone going inside, has been prohibited since 2008 due to concerns about the potential for damage to the structure. So this is now a very, very rare sight. Amazing.